The Arizona desert provides a motorsports oasis. Phoenix International Raceway, home of the Copper World Classic. Boasting 4 race classes at one prestigious event, we'll see 2 classes today that couldn't be any more different. A Copper World Classic win can be a springboard to a ride at the Indy 500 or a Winston Cup car. It's precious metal on any racing resume. And for that reason alone, some will drive through hell to qualify here.
Laid out like a necklace at the base of the Estrella Mountains in the Valley of the Sun is the fastest 1-mile racetrack in all the world, Phoenix International Raceway. And it's from here we continue our coverage of the world-famous Copper World Classic. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Evans. You remember last weekend, Race of the Week was an all-USAC affair from here at the Classic. Well, today, a bit different. In fact, 2 classes that are so different, the only thing they share in common is 4 wheels and a motor. First, you will see the fastest short track cars in all the world. The Super Modifieds, or just Supers as the fans call them. They'll hit speeds here of 190 miles an hour and boast the thinnest rule book in all of motorsports. And then there's the slam-bang action of the Featherlight NASCAR Southwest Tour. These drivers are famous for very aggressive driving, a lot of action, and this being winter in most of the country, a lot of visiting teams from other NASCAR series for a little spice. In fact, up the stock car garage area is my friend Dave Reef.
Steve, over the past 3 years, the 2 biggest names to come out of the Southwest Tour garage area here at the Copper World Classics, Ken Schrader and Rick Corelli. This year, Ken Schrader's got Daytona duty calling him, so he is not here. But that doesn't leave a shortage of names. Check these out. How about Allison, Elliott, Baker, Petty? Now, granted, these guys aren't related to their Winston Cup counterparts, but if name clout should mean anything here today, they most certainly could be contenders. Super Modifieds are on the grid, and for that, let's meet the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Bobby Gerald.
And Dave, they almost had to go to a coin flip to decide who would be on the pole for the Super Modified 25-lapper, and that's because Troy Regier, last year's winner, was edged out this year for the pole by 1/1000th of a second by Rebel Jackson Jr. Rebel will start on the pole, and 1/1000th of a second is not a lot of time. Is the race going to be that close?
I think it is. It's going to be a great race. Troy's running real fast down here. He's got the tires living on that car. I got Indy driver Davey Hamilton right behind me. It's going to be a good tight race today, I believe.
A big difference in speed between the front of the field and the rear of the field. How much of a concern is that for you guys?
It's a big concern, but we've had extensive meetings with some of the people in the back of the pack, staying low and leaving us a groove on the outside down the straightaways to get by them, so it should be okay.
Lots of talent up front and lots of talent further in the field, Dave Reef.
Bobby, when you move back to the 2nd and 3rd rows, that's when you got to start talking things like IRL, Indianapolis 500. That's just where 3 of these next 4 drivers have been, including Davey Hamilton out of Boise, Idaho. He is a 4-time Classic champion and only one of 2 drivers to win back-to-back races here in Phoenix. Next to him out of Reedley, California, is the 12X machine of Mark Eckberg. He looks to better his WSMRA 7th place points finish from 1998. It's looking good now. He's starting outside the 2nd row. Moving back to inside of row 3, that's where we find Double O, Joe Gosick out of Oswego, New York. This East Coast Super Modified runner has always called Phoenix home in the spring. This year, he's doing it in the luxury of his own automobile. And to the outside of the 3rd row, that's where you find Paul Durant out of Manteca, California. It's been 13 years since this man has found the Copper Classic winner's circle. They feel they're close this year. Just how close? We will find out in 25 laps.
And those will be 25 hold-your-breath laps if history in the Copper World Classic means anything for these super mods. As they bump start the cars for the race, let's remember that front 2 rows have dominated the Coppers in the last 5 years. Troy Regier won last year from the pole, had the pole in 96, was beaten by Randy Bauer. And Davey Hamilton won from the pole in 94 and 95. And Rebel Jackson has won here 3 times, the most recent in 97. Let's take a closer look at these cars.
The biggest thing you'll probably notice, top wing. That combined with the front wing will provide you 3,400 square inches of downforce. 4 coilover shocks go along with 4 spec Hoosier tires, and you're ready to go racing. If you look at the car from the front, though, you'll notice another obvious change. The chassis is offset 24 inches to the left side of this race car, and it's not the only thing that is featured on the left side. So, too, is the big 455 cubic inch motor that'll generate between 800 and 850 horsepower. It drinks a lot of gas, a gallon a lap here at PIR. That means you got to have a lot of gas as well. This 42-gallon one sits on the inside of the car as well. You total up all of these irregularities, and you've got a 2,000-pound race car, which features more than 70% of the weight on the left side. What's the logic? Well, when you're going left, you want this car to stay planted.
I'd pay big money to see a race where the super modified cars have to turn right.
Or a road course. That would be equally as challenging. Another interesting rule, front engine super modified cars. They do run them in the rears at other places.
Yeah, these cars feature just about 1,000 horsepower from these. Oh, and look at this. Davey Hamilton starting inside the second row. Well, he was going to until he had to bring it down on pit road and change a tire. And word is they think that the relief valve of the valve stem apparently stuck. It got so much heat that the tire just blew. He's got to go to the back. Let's talk about a great story back in row number 3. Joe Gosick, the pride of Oswego, New York. He usually comes out here and drives a Western car. This year, thanks to a produce company in Scottsdale, Arizona, Commander Produce, they brought their own car. A little bit of a disadvantage, about 250 pounds of weight. The rig broke down 3 times. It's a miracle they're even here and then come out and qualified in the 3rd row. Joe Gosick is good.
Further back in the pack, you see the 90 car Richie Castor. He finished 10th here last year. Back through rows 11 and 12, Wally Pankratz. He will definitely come to the front as the green flag comes out. We are underway.
25 laps. Super modified cars.
Troy Regier jumps right out in front. He only lost the pole position by 1/1000 of a second. You heard Bobby Gerald say that, but this has been the class car all weekend long.
I'll tell you who's had the worst luck all weekend long, and that is Davey Hamilton, who is now, because of that tire problem, going to the back and trying to thread his way through this field and doing it very quickly. Let's remember the cars he's passing are 4 or 5 seconds a lap slower than his machine, that 1T car.
In between 40 and 50 miles per hour slower, too, so you always got to be thinking ahead if you're coming from the back of the pack, because those cars will come on you real quick.
And this was a car that Davey Hamilton really thought he could win with today.
I know he certainly was feeling very confident about his chances, but winning that 5th time, well, it's probably not going to come in 1999.
You know, it's not impossible to win from the back, but when you got a guy like Rebel Jackson up front and that kind of speed and talent, it's pretty darn difficult. Maybe, you know, get yourself in the top 5.
And I think Rebel may be spending most of his day chasing that Troy Regier machine, too.
Rebel Jackson and Mark Ekberg actually fighting for that 2nd place.
That is Ekberg in the pink 12X machine, you see. Steve, these guys like World of Outlaw cars with those big wings on top, they're not defined to just one line. They can move around the racetrack a little bit and find the preferred line.
Oh, yeah, infinitely adjustable. Number 10, Troy Regier has really taken quite a lead already, lapping cars in only, what, the 3rd lap?
When they came out to practice, Steve, he had almost 0.2 of a second on the next quickest car, and that equals out to about 5 or 6 miles per hour here.
How about Davey Hamilton, huh? I may have to rethink that top 5. He's already up to 7th.
Hamilton is definitely on the charge, and I'll tell you, though, when you go to the back, you've got probably an upset. Oh, we've got, speaking of upsets, Mark Ekberg was running in 3rd. He has slowed to the apron. You see some smoke coming off the back of the car. Not exactly sure what happened, but the caution flag is out.
So one of the front runners, Mark Ekberg, early in the going, spins out here on the big mile in Phoenix. We'll be right back with more Supers.
Here's another breakthrough from Craftsman. It's the clench wrench, available only from Sears. All jobs become easier when you have the right tool. For stubborn nuts and bolts, you need super gripping power. With the Craftsman clench wrench, the harder you pull, the tighter it grips. As you apply more pressure to the handle, the pivoting jaw holds the bolt tighter and tighter. And Craftsman's headlock design grips nuts and bolts on the flat, away from the corners, for less damage or rounding off. The clench wrench automatically self-adjusts to 15 popular standard and metric size nuts and bolts, so there's no guesswork. This convenient tool can do the job of all these wrenches, so you only need one tool for dozens of household and automotive projects. At $19.99, the clench wrench is a real value, and because it's a Craftsman hand tool made in America, it's guaranteed forever. Its heat-treated laminated steel plate construction provides maximum strength and durability, so the clench wrench can take on the toughest jobs. Even an old bolt with rounded corners is not a problem for the Craftsman clench wrench. And the contoured rubberized handle is easy on your hand. Its pivoting jaw leverages more grip to the bolt, so the job is done tight, done right. With its spring-loaded jaw and easy-open thumb lever, the clench wrench is a snap to use. Once in place, it's self-ratcheting. Just swing the handle back and it automatically resets. You don't have to remove and reposition it after each turn. And its versatile one-handed design works in either direction. Just flip it over. Socket wrenches don't always fit into tight spots. The clench wrench is a slim half-inch wide, perfect for narrow places. Finally, a self-adjusting ratchet action wrench that not only fits, it actually grips. The Craftsman clench wrench is one more example of how Craftsman makes anything possible. Order yours today.
Have your Sears or other credit card ready and call 1-800-705-4433. That's 1-800-705-4433. To order your Craftsman clench wrench for only $19.99 plus shipping and handling. Call 1-800-705-4433 now.
Back at Phoenix International Raceway, the Copper World Classic. That's the crew of Davey Hamilton, hoping that their driver can somehow make up for some very bad luck. Losing a tire on the warm-up laps that put him at the back when he should have started up front. But right now, it is Troy Regier on the restart again, jumping out to a huge advantage, Dave Reef.
Hamilton was 7th as we went to break, but due to that Mark Ekberg spin, apparently a brake problem on the number 12 car, that pushed Hamilton up into 6th, so he's charging already for a top 5 finish.
Yeah, well, he's got some much quicker cars to pass now in front of him than the ones he's already disposed of. But Davey Hamilton is a great driver, no question about it. Went into the IRL cars out of the super modified ranks thanks to A.J. Ford at the time.
Beautiful day in Phoenix. Great racing conditions, nice cool temperatures, just like these big hungry and thirsty motors love to run on. That's what makes these guys so fast, the nice cool desert air out here, as we've got a battle for third.
This is really cool. This is kind of an east-west showdown. Davey Hamilton and Oswego, New York, Joe Gosing. No one on the planet has more experience driving these super modified cars that are so popular in Oswego, New York. The track is literally right downtown where the fans want it. And Davey Hamilton out of Boise, Idaho, he's trying to set up Gosing for a pass here to take that third spot.
And just that quick, the deed is done. Hamilton to the inside of 00 Joe. He now runs in the top 3 after starting all the way at the tail.
Well, Joe Gosing, I think, knew it was inevitable that Hamilton would get around him, but he made it as difficult as he possibly could. And still, that's a great spot for Gosing with that disadvantaged car running fourth. Pretty stout.
Very stout, though, is Regier. Unbelievable. He has opened up nearly a half a straightaway advantage in the number 10 machine. Rebel Jackson continuing to run in the number 2 spot after 14 laps. Davey Hamilton, as we said, in third. Joe Gosing, followed by the 84 machine, running 5th.
Well, there is Troy Regier in the beautiful number 10 car. He knows that Davey Hamilton is coming. You can bet on that. And he is driving that machine as hard as he possibly can.
But it looks like it's pretty much flawless. As he begins to slow, that's because we've got a car on the front stretch, the 46 of Mark Beck, right underneath the flag stand. He started 16th, but looks like his day will be finished. Another accident, Steve.
Yep, and that is over in turn number 4. That is number 90, Richie Castor, and also 84, Doug Saunier, involved in that incident. When things happen, they happen very fast with these super modified cars. They are so hooked up that when they come loose, bingo, you're a passenger. As we have another look at this.
That is the 84 car of Doug Saunier spinning out. Finds himself sideways on the racetrack, and all of a sudden, here comes the 90 car, Richie Castor. Trust me, he is coming. Boom, nowhere to go.
So Paul Durant, number 78, is also out of the race with axle problems, we're told. And what is this? They've red flagged it, and coming onto pit road is Troy Regier and Hamilton. What is that all about?
We will settle it all when we come back to the 1999 Copper World Classic. Troy Regier showing the way.
Tests have shown that some brake pads can take more than 20 feet longer to stop a car.
An independent lab developed D3EA, the only lab test which determines if brake pads are consistent with federal safety standards. Raybestos professional grade brakes are D3EA certified.
What was 20 feet from you after your last sudden stop? So demand Raybestos and look for this seal.
Raybestos, the best in brakes.
It's always been my way or no way, right? So when I go away, I stay at Super 8. I want it comfortable. Am I right? I want my VIP discount and friendly people. But not too friendly. Life's great at Super 8.
Ice Sport. The scent of exhilaration from Aquavelva. Now available in new skin conditioning gel.
If your home could use a little TLC, come to Ace for the I Love My Home sale. There's lots to love, including including the prices. Ace is the place for the helpful hardware folks.
Want to color your gray beard or mustache? Get Just for Men Gel.
You look so natural, no one can tell with Just for Men Gel.
Brush in and in 5 minutes, gray is gone.
No one can tell with Just for Men Gel.
It's about right and wrong. Roller jab.
We're ready for him.
Watch the fur fly as the Lady Quakes settle the score with some very bad Sundog babes.
Unity.
If you ain't sweating, you ain't playing. It's growling and shaking when the dogs fight the Quakes.
You're gonna see a team that unites.
See who survives. Roller jab. Friday at 8, only on TNN.
Something strange always seems to happen when the super modifieds take to the track at the Copper World Classic. And this time, it was Troy Regier, the leader, and Davey Hamilton running third, who instead of coming onto the racetrack to stop under red, went into the pits.
Well, here's Larry Triguero, crew chief for Davey Hamilton, and try to sort all this out for us. And what's your contention?
Well, the corner workers had pointed the cars down on the racetrack, and the pace truck went up and the leader went up. They stopped. Our car and the 10 car came down, and they motioned us down pit road, which is the hot pit lane where we're instructed to be on a red flag. We didn't make any adjustments until they told us we could work on the car, and they're setting us both to the back. It's a shame. And we had a flat tire. We started 25th, come all the way through, and us and the 10 and the 11 were going to have a good race. And basically the officials just took it away from us and handed it to the 11 car. There ain't much more you can say about it. It's just a horrible call.
Well, let's see. They're putting him at the back, all right, at the back of the cars on the lead lap.
Exactly. So that means he's going to be back there about 9th or 10th, along with Troy Regier, who already looks like he's making up some ground as the restart comes out for Rebel Jackson, your new leader.
And Troy Regier has 9 laps to try to salvage this disaster.
Same story for Hamilton. He's got 9 laps to try to pull it up one more time from the back of the pack. Unbelievable that he's had to go back there twice, Steve.
Oh, he should have stayed home in bed for this particular Copper World Classic. Look at this, though. There comes that 10 car. There's going to be a heck of an interesting 9 laps. 8 now.
There is plenty of time for him to get back up and say maybe a top 5 or a top 3. Running all the way to the front. Rebel Jackson, he's out all by himself now, virtually unscathed. So that's a tall order.
Well, Troy Regier crawled back in that car after the red flag and muttered to himself, "Watch this." And indeed we are, with every camera we brought to PIR. Giving him a driving lesson right now is that 10 car. Looking to make it 2 in a row.
Well, throughout all of the practices, Steve, this was the quickest car. He missed the pole, as we said, by 1/1000th of a second. But by far, he has been the fastest and quickest car here all weekend long.
And as the laps continue to tick off, Troy Regier cannot take anything lightly here. He's got to make every maneuver possible if he's to regain the lead that he had for some 16 laps. And he was a victim of circumstances. According to Troy, he just followed Davey Hamilton into the pits because he thought that's where he was supposed to go.
But when the pins weren't open, rules are rules. Both those cars had to go to the back of the pack. Rebel Jackson still out in front, looking to pick up his 4th Copper World Classic win. It's been since 1997, so it hasn't been that long. And look at this. Troy Regier is already into 2nd. Pretty big interval, but not too big, I don't think, Steve.
Maybe not. They did actually make some changes once they were penalized. Anyway, Davey Hamilton and the Regier crew were able to make some wing adjustments and maybe put a little more bite into these cars. There he comes. There he comes.
Hamilton not quite with the aggressiveness as Troy Regier has. Look at that. Rebel Jackson is the leader, but he ain't going to be the leader for long based on the torrid pace that Troy Regier has set in the 10 car.
Rebel Jackson keeping his line, not necessarily blocking the racetrack. Lap traffic may take care of that.
Davey Hamilton has come back to 5th, but the battle is up front. Rebel Jackson probably has no idea he's even there, but pretty soon he's going to know.
The final lap. Can Troy Regier do the seemingly impossible? He's alongside him. They touch, they kiss. The 10 car loose, but Troy Regier takes the lead from Rebel Jackson. Unbelievable. This is the final lap of the race. Always a bizarre affair at the Copper World Classic.
Hand raised out the car. Troy Regier has done it from the back of the pack to the front. Steve, I would not have bet all the money in the world that he would have been able to do that.
I think that crew had a lot of confidence that possibly he could. That was really some good stuff.
Well, kudos, though, to Davey Hamilton, who also came home 5th. But for Troy Regier, it's his 2nd consecutive Copper World Classic. As we say, Hamilton came back 5th. He went to the tail twice, though.
Yep. There he is, the man of the hour. Hey, little dirt track slide. Gosh, what a... Oh, the crowd just absolutely adoring this. Troy Regier wins it. Rebel Jackson. Joe Gosing, how about that for 3rd? And Bobby Gerald has our winner.
How satisfying is it, Troy? This is what racing's all about right here. It don't get no better. And I got to thank my car owners, Dave and Sharon Biswell, they're the best. My crew, great bunch of guys. They just give me everything I could ever ask for. And I want to dedicate this one to Fred Gerhardt, who's at home, Fresno right now, not feeling too good. So this one's for you, Fred, and my team, everybody, and my fans. All right.
Yeah. Troy, what were you thinking on the restart? Did you really think you still had a chance to get up there and catch Rebel?
Well, I knew I had a chance if I can get through the traffic cleanly and maybe run them down there at the end, but I kept leaving a gap. I knew I was supposed to go to the back, but those guys weren't getting in front of me, so finally they got in front of me, and I just went for it.
The crowd loved it. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Hey, we loved it. How about Joe Gallegos, his 77D car? He came from 22nd to finish 9th. Wally Pankratz, the veteran from Orange, California, the 21C machine, had a nice ride. 21st was his starting position. He finished 11th. A tip of the hat to all the super modified teams. They come from different parts of the country, different associations, and put on a great show here today. Dave Reef?
Are you disappointed?
Oh, yeah, always disappointed. You know, you see that white flag come out, you expect to see the checker, too, and he just came down, put it on the inside of me. It wasn't nothing I could do. We got together down there once, and he just out-horsepowered me down the backstretch.
Stay with us. Coming up next, the NASCAR Southwest Tour Machines and the Grease Lightning 50 here from the Copper World Classic.